All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We've got about 20 people on the call, and we always have a few more come on in the first few minutes or so, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's see, so jumping right in. Today we have a really cool presentation for the PlayCleanGo campaign. You've probably heard of it, you've probably seen it. You've probably seen the logo. We've shared some stuff about it, but we're excited to learn more about how Florida and CISMA and FIS can get more engaged with this really successful campaign. And then we've got some updates, a lot of really good events coming up and things to get involved with there. And then I just want to say it was great to see everybody last month at the FLEPC conference, the folks who attended that. Always a good time, always good to catch up with folks. So we didn't have a call last month, so welcome back, and we'll have calls again now until November when we'll take another break for the holidays. So jumping right in, I'm going to introduce our speaker today. Beth Bergner is with the North American Invasive Species Management Association and is the campaign manager for PlayCleanGo. I'm going to hand the controls over, and just so everybody is aware, quick note, you are muted. Beth, I'll unmute you. Oh, I can't. Sorry, just a moment. There we go. Okay, nope. Sorry, I'm having a little.
There, can you hear me?
There we go, yep, and then let me give
right.
you control. Where did my, there we go. I never have this much trouble with this. All right, now you should be able to advance the slides when you click on the screen.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, and look forward to your presentation.
Wonderful, Emily. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and it's great to have a chance to visit with Florida. Let's see, I'm going to just double check and see if Hannah is on here. I can't, oh, I don't see everybody, but hopefully Hannah's here. So Hannah Bowers is our NISMA's communications and program manager, and she is intimately involved with the PlayCleanGo campaign. So what I'm going to do today is I know some of you have probably heard of the PlayCleanGo. You may have attended a webinar I've given several webinars in the last several months, but I think I gave one to the Florida group, or perhaps Sue Burks did within the last couple of years. But a lot has changed, a lot of great things. I know probably maybe one or more of you are partners, and I know we've had a couple of Nature Conservancy chapters join, at least one from Florida. And Hannah is based in Florida as well. So great to be with you today. So we'll dive right in. I have way too many slides in this presentation, so I'm going to try, I might blow through some of them, but I wanted to be sure I get a proper overview of the campaign. I mean, some people like to know the history, where we started, where we came from, and then by the end, we'll get to where we are today and how you can involve. So I will talk about first, what is the problem that the campaign addresses, and how we have used social research and community-based social marketing to develop the campaign. We'll talk about why, because of that research, and very strategic, not just strategic research, but strategic work with partners and how we've evolved over the last several years, why it has become the best invasive species prevention outreach campaign for North America. We'll talk about how it works and how you can get involved. What are the assets? Why it would make sense for you all to take it and run with it if you haven't already. And we'll talk a little bit about who is already involved, and again, opportunities for your collaboration. And finally, I will do a very clear call to action. And then you'll see very clearly through the presentation one of the critical aspects of how the campaign works and why it's successful is because of all of our on-the-ground partners like you. The campaign only works when we have many partners at all scales of government and nonprofit and individuals helping us to get the same unified message across multiple jurisdictional boundaries. So what is the problem? These are just a few of the invasive species problems that you may or may not be dealing with, depending on what's going on in Florida. You may recognize Japanese stiltgrass here in the top left and center. Emerald ash borer is a bigger problem in the northern, mid-Atlantic, northern and Midwest states. Of course, spotted lanternfly and other goodies here. But of course, this is not a complete list. The real problem that the campaign gets at, or one of the problems, is this seemingly happy, non-problematic recreationists who are actually part of the problem. They are spreading invasive species on their shoes, on their bike tires, on their horses' hooves, in their canoes, and anywhere they recreate, unintentionally. So the other problem is human behavior. We tend to be lazy. We tend to only do things that are made easy for us. If there's any sort of challenge to dropping off our recycling or trash in the right place, we may not do it. And so what we're seeing here in this example with recycling or littering is probably the result of, this trash can got filled up and people just were lazy and didn't feel like carrying their trash to the next bin. So they just dumped it there. Obviously not what we want them to do, right? And so PlayCleanGo works with the same strategies and techniques that has made recycling programs successful. So what I'll talk about is how we connect with what people believe and value and our target audience. So that's really important. I'll talk about who our target audience is and how we're trying to stay on top of connecting with them and what they believe in. We need to teach the behavior that we want them to do. So I'll talk about how the campaign helps to teach the behavior. We need to provide the right tools. We need to provide those tools in the places where we want them to do that behavior, at trailheads, boat landings, anywhere where they're recreating. And we need to provide a clear, consistent branded message. So I'm starting with this example of recycling because many of us have probably had more exposure, more history with that label, that brand, that symbol, perhaps more so than any other invasive species message or any other environmental brand, but perhaps not. Some other messages you are probably familiar with is Smokey the Bear. When you see that image, you know exactly what that is trying to tell you to do. Do not leave your campfire unattended. Do not throw your cigarette out the car window. You know exactly what that message is telling you. Similar to this, some of you might be familiar with Don't Move Firewood. It's a campaign specifically designed to tell people and reinforce the behavior of not moving firewood from place to place because that transfers and spreads invasive species. So again, they're just examples of other brands to make it easy. Now, back to the recycling example or trash. The reason why recycling programs are successful, or the recycling programs that are successful, are those that place the recycling bins right next to the trash bins. So there is no, people don't have to take those extra 10 steps to get to the recycling bin. What we know from recycling and trash research is basically people are just less likely to bring their recyclable material to the bin if it's literally 10 to 20 steps away from that trash can. So similarly with the PlayCleanGo, the assets and the tools that we provide our partners are tools to get these messages exactly, and then tools right where we want recreationists to do this behavior of cleaning their gear before and after recreating. We also provide tools for reminding. We need to constantly remind people what they need to do. Back to the recycling example, here you get flyers reminding you how you're supposed to recycle in your community. You might see billboards, you might see messages on social media, on websites. We are providing the same tools to PlayCleanGo partners to make it easy for our partners like you all to remind your recreationists and your constituents what they need to do. Here are some examples of the targeted communications and tools we give you, and I'm going to go into more detail about this in a little bit. But we have social media posts. We have a calendar that we are now putting together in advance of posting, so that partners like you can take those posts and copy them and paste them into your social channels. We have boot brush stations. This is an example of a boot brush kiosk sign. And I'll talk a little bit about how these are customizable. You can swap out the invasive species images here to the species of concern in your area, and you can put your CISMA logo and your other partner logos here. We make it easy. So now let's dive into how the campaign works and why it is the invasive species prevention outreach solution. Just to provide a little bit of history, it was started in 2008 with funding from the USDA Forest Service. In 2012, it was officially launched by the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. They are the agency that got the USDA funding. It grew so quickly. They had so many partners outside of Minnesota that wanted to use the campaign that it just grew beyond their capacity to manage it as a state agency. So that's where CISMA came in, our organization. We adopted the campaign in 2014. In 2016, we signed an MOU to officially gradually take over the campaign. And as of today, we are the official national, the US program manager for the campaign in the US. And backing up there, in 2018, we also signed a Forest Service MOU so that the Forest Service regions can officially adopt the campaign. And I can tell you that we are on the cusp of, I have an almost signed MOU with the Park Service and US Fish and Wildlife Refuge System. Actually, it's the whole US Fish and Wildlife Service, the whole Fish and Wildlife Service. So we're gaining traction with all the federal agencies, lots of state agencies, and I'll talk a little bit more about other partners in a little bit. So let's talk about the campaign strategy, how it works. Again, the focus is on public behavior, which is what we're trying to change. We want them to clean, we want recreationists to clean their gear. But in order to do that, in order to provide successful messaging, it's important that we identify with what these recreationists believe. What is the problem? What do they know? And what do they value? So we connect with those values. We have designed the tools for partners to teach the behaviors and make it accessible. And then we ask partners such as you to help us engage recreationists where you are, in your parks, in your natural areas, anywhere you have access to public outreach and education. So we have turnkey educational outreach materials. I'll talk a bit about those in a second. And the message, I'm going to talk about how the way the brand and the campaign is designed, it is very intentionally designed to be flexible and straightforward in terms of how you as a partner can take it. You can take our outreach materials and customize it for whatever you're doing, whether it's a boot brush sign, whether it's your website, your banner, an ad, social media, everything. We've got tools for every outreach opportunity. Let's see, let's keep going. Why it works is when the brand was put together, the research informed the message in that it was very clear. We wanted the brand to very explicitly say what the action steps are. So it's very clear. You're going to go play, whatever that play is, whether it's hiking, horseback riding, ATVing, boating, whatever. And then we need you to clean your gear before you leave. Ideally, you're cleaning your gear before you enter wherever you're going as well, and then go to your next destination. So that's where PlayCleanGo came in. Very simple designs, very colorful color palette. The application, while it was originally designed for terrestrial applications for hikers, because at the time that the campaign was developed, there really wasn't any outreach strategy for terrestrial recreation. We're now seeing partners, including major federal partners, using the application of the brand to aquatic messaging. In fact, in some of our outreach materials, we already have PlayCleanGo, I'm sorry, we have Clean, Drain, Dry and Stop Aquatic Hitchhikers on messaging, and you are welcome to use those across all taxa. We have a very clear co-branding guide that you get as a partner that tells you how to customize and use the materials for your needs, and a large graphic library. So in the brand standards, here's just a copy of some of the taglines, the positive messages that we've come up with that you can use, which are absolutely flexible and customizable. But just to give you a flavor of some of the tools that are already put together for you in the brand standards. And I just put this quote here by Per Espen Stoknes, who is a psychologist and economist in Norway. He gave a great TED talk that really resonated strongly with me about why we need to make caring for the earth feel personable, doable, and empowering. And that is exactly what the PlayCleanGo message does. It's positive, it's personal, it very directly tells the viewer, the recreationist, that they are responsible for helping to take care of the earth. And it's empowering. It tells recreationists exactly that they are the ones in control of helping us prevent the spread. We make it easy. We have kiosks, templates for signage. We have instructions for how to install boot brush stations. And we encourage you to help us make it easy by putting these tools and outreach messages where you are working. This is a picture of some kids with our boot brushes, which are actually originally designed as hoof picks for horses, but they work great for a lot of different kinds of gear. And I'll talk a bit about how this is one of our outreach tools and materials that partners have the option to purchase and give out. They are branded with the PlayCleanGo message. And I'm going to consistently, and I'm going to keep talking about how all of the messages we use and we give to you as a partner to use are fun. And we really focus on that because it was very clear in the research that was done early on that the message, in order to get recreationists to change their behavior or be receptive to this message, is to keep the message positive and fun. So I'm going to go through some examples of some of the tools that we provide. This is one of the pages from our website where we have action items, examples of tools that you can give to your stakeholders. Again, the very clear brand guidelines very explicitly tell you how to use the logo and the messaging, and we're here to help you. So as a PlayCleanGo partner, if you have any questions about how to use the brand in an outreach piece that you're developing, just give us a call, shoot us an email, and we'll help you make sure it's just right. We have materials that partners can purchase for outreach purposes. These are, this is probably our most popular item. These are the boot brushes I mentioned with the PlayCleanGo website and the tagline. People love these. They come in the brand colors. This is on the top left is the Leave No Trace ethics card. This is something that we developed with Leave No Trace, which is a separate organization, but they've been very successful, and they have training programs all over the country where they tell recreationists, and their focus is predominantly on the campers and the backcountry folks to leave no trace. And they have 7 principles of how you can leave no trace wherever you're recreating. So we took those 7 principles and basically put more detail into them under each of the principles on this. It's hard to tell what this looks like, but if you haven't seen these, they're very durable plastic pieces that are designed for backpackers or hikers or whatever to actually carry with them and keep with them in their backpack whenever they go out. On the bottom here are some images of the temporary tattoos that we sell. These are just some of the images, and we'll probably come up with more to give away. These are real popular with the kids, of course. We also have a field guide that was put together by the Potomac Highlands Cooperative Weed Management Area up in West Virginia. It's a nice little field guide that has some basic invasive species identification tools in there. And again, the signage, there's a picture of our trail sign that's also available for sale. It's also a PDF in the partner library that I'll talk about in a minute that you are welcome to download and customize with your brand and messaging. Again, the boot brush kiosk, really popular item. We get lots of questions about this all the time. There are a lot of different ways to do the boot brush stations. We have some groups who partner with Eagle Scout troops, who actually, the Eagle Scout troops are actually building the boot brush stations for partner organizations. We also have contacts with vendors who we can help connect you with them, so you can order those signs. Just some examples of the different kinds of graphic media products that we have in the graphic library for partners, all different shapes and sizes, different photos, and all of these, again, are downloadable PDFs that you can customize using Adobe Pro. You can swap out the photos. You can put in your local CISMA group, your other partners. It's all customizable. Here's an example of where Don't Move Firewood used one of our pieces and put their main message, buy it where you burn it, right on top, and put in their logo on the bottom. So, you know, I keep talking about all kinds of activities. It really does apply to all activities, any kind of recreational sport, and we're seeing more partners be creative and actually combine messaging across different types of recreation. Hunters is a growing recreational community. We have some signage available for that. Boating, we're in conversation with Wildlife Forever to work more closely on providing more co-branded messaging. I know Florida's got a lot of water bodies. If that's something that of interest to you, we will be probably putting together some new materials with the Clean, Drain, Dry and Stop Aquatic Hitchhikers messaging in there. Bikers, just another example of an image there. Field staff. A lot of our partners ask us for materials for their work staff, field workers, mowers, landscape crews. So that is also something that we're working on developing more of. There's an example of where the Three Rivers Park District in Minnesota developed a piece for their outreach and put in their logo right there. And you know, the idea, again, I just want to stress that we really want you to customize any material you find in the graphic library with imagery that works for you. So clearly this image that was done by Montana is not going to resonate for the recreationists in Florida. You're going to want, you know, maybe you are working in Cyprus. You're going to want a picture of a beautiful cypress swamp, or maybe you're in a pine area, a big pine forest. You're going to want something that looks like that for your recreation area. So again, you know, customizable. We're here to help you customize any of the materials. So I think I already talked about that. These are banner ads that Wyoming did, or Wyoming and Minnesota did for their various websites. Collaborative. One of the key strengths of the campaign is that it is designed to facilitate cooperation among diverse groups and across jurisdictional boundaries. You as CISMAs, you obviously understand the importance of that. That's why you are doing what you do. That is the beauty of what CISMAs, CWMAs, and related groups do. So the campaign is designed to be a universal message that works across any boundary, but yet it's customizable, so you can put your message on there. Just a quick shot. Now this graph is a little outdated, but you can see that we are working with partners at all scales of government and organization, which is beautiful. I mean, this campaign is only going to be truly successful when we have the brand at literally every trailhead, boat landing, and any recreational access point. So we really need even more of these different types of organizations and across different scales to have this brand where they are, so that people, recreationists, when they go out, you know, people travel more and more. They need to see that same PlayCleanGo brand in Florida and in Georgia and South Carolina and Maine, you know, everywhere. That is where the campaign is going to be the most successful. We are growing. We have a partnership with the Canadian Council on Invasive Species. They manage the Canadian campaign for PlayCleanGo. And we're about to sign an MOU with Conabio, which is the Mexican agency, basically the equivalent of sort of Fish and Wildlife. It's sort of the combination of Fish and Wildlife Service and like Department of the Interior. So they are going to be leveraging the work that we've done to get the brand in Mexico. And one of the great things that's going to happen from that is we'll work closely with them on on Spanish translations for all of our materials. I'm sure many of you work in bilingual areas, so that will become a resource that you will be able to use, the bilingual messaging. That is one of the great things that the Canadian Council has done. They've developed literally a new brand in French. So it's not PlayCleanGo in French. It's got to be the French words. It's actually a requirement of the Canadian government that in many cases you have to have, in any signage, you've got to have that bilingual messaging. So they've been really fantastic in developing the French translation. I want to point out, if you haven't noodled around the PlayCleanGo website, there is a partner map where you can drill in and find out where your local PlayCleanGo partner organizations are. Let's see, I'm going to just kind of keep going here. So many CWMAs, CISMAs, PRISMs, and cooperative partnerships are already partners. Here's a snapshot of your neck of the woods, and I don't think this is actually updated. I think there's a couple chapters that are not listed by pins, but if you go to the website, you basically can zoom in, and when you click on a pin, you will see the contact information for that organization. And then you can network with them, find out what they're doing, see if you can partner together and do some signage together, save some money, save some time, leverage your resources. I want to go back to social. We're realizing that this is a really important piece of the outreach. We have over 11,000, I think maybe we're at over 12,000 followers now. Maybe Hannah can correct me. 12,000 followers on Facebook. I'm forgetting the numbers, but we're also on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is growing. That seems to be a growing platform, but we're seeing a lot of great traction through advertisements and messaging, and hopefully we hope that you all as partners take and share and copy and use the same messaging that we use on social media. We hope that that's one of the assets that's valuable to you, so that you don't have to come up with that messaging yourself. One of the behavior change strategies that we know is successful in getting continued cooperation and actual behavior change, not just once, but every time recreationists get out there, is to sign a pledge. So we've developed a pledge on the website where we're driving people through social media and other digital channels to the pledge to get recreationists to sign the pledge. And then we're following up with more information to remind them and give them tools about how to clean their gear every time they get out and come back from wherever they're hiking or boating or whatever they like to do. I'm going to drill into a bit more about what the assets are as PlayCleanGo partners. What I'm showing you here is a snapshot of the website, the web page that only partners have access to. So when you sign up, you get an account. And I will tell you that this is about to change a little bit. We're actually going to make it easier. We're hoping to get to a point where we don't need you to remember a password. It'll just recognize you, and it'll be basically if you're like me, you don't need another password to have to remember. So at any rate, once you get in, only partners see this partner graphics arrow that I'm pointing to here on the bottom of that yellow column. And there's a drop-down menu here with a whole variety of different types of media. So this is just one type of media, or ads and posters is kind of a group of type of media that you click on any of these options. It's a PDF, print-ready PDF that you can basically download, customize with your images and outreach messages, and send to your printer, and off you go. Or if it's digital, you plug and play, drop it on your website or social, anywhere, and it is turnkey, ready for you to use. This is the graphic library page that is viewable to the public. We do provide some things available to the public for non-partners, just as a little. I mean, we want these tools to get out there, but in order to provide partners that sort of those extra benefits and extra assets, we have a lot more available in the partner graphic library. Here, and this green button you can see is an order form. That is to order those materials that I talked about, the boot brushes, the temporary tattoos, the leave no trace cards, the signage, and other things. So you click on that green button, and that is actually in the process of being updated too. That'll be a much easier online order form pretty soon. Just another page here. This is where the signage, examples of boot brush signage lives. We're working on updating this to provide vendor information to make it easier for partners to find vendors. There's going to be a vendor in every state that does this kind of signage, but some people want to, they want that information right there. So we're going to work on making it a little bit easier for partners to create and order signage. But these graphics are in, that boot brush sign is in the graphic library. So you can right now as a partner grab that sign, download it, and start customizing it for whatever you need. Here's an example of we have some instructions on how to build the boot brush station. This is from one of the vendors that our partners use. But again, there's no one way to do it. And in fact, I believe next month, in June, we're going to have a webinar given by Julie Kraft in Wyoming and Hillary Mosier up in New York. They're going to talk about the two different ways that they have built boot brush stations. Our partner, Julie's group in Wyoming, uses a particular vendor and type, and Hillary up in New York uses a different type, where Hillary uses a more sort of local sourcing approach. So stay tuned for that, and if you're a partner, you'll get access to that webinar. More new resources. We're in the process of finishing up some new videos that we're releasing on our website and on social media that we encourage partners to share and use on your social channels, on your website, anywhere you can get those out there. We're updating with more digital graphic materials. In particular, we heard from partners that they wanted more imagery of the actual behavior that we want people to do. So we're going to have kind of the same kinds of media available that's in the graphic library right now, but there will be more with images of things like showing the boot brushing, cleaning boots or cleaning bikes, cleaning boats, horses, and all those kinds of behaviors. Let's see, what else do I want to do? I mentioned the shareable social media content. Again, that's something that we are working on providing on a more regular basis to partners, getting the content that we are publishing on our social channels out to you as partners, so that you can plan ahead and you can schedule your posts to kind of coordinate and get the same message out at the same time. And we're also focusing on a new outreach week. We're focusing some outreach and awareness on June 1st to the 8th this year. We're calling it PlayCleanGo Awareness Week. It's sandwiched between National Trails Day and then National Get Outdoors Day, which are the first two Saturdays in June. So stay tuned for, we're going to have an infographic. That's going to be a new graphic that'll be ready, targeted social media. What else are we going to have? We're going to have a radio PSA. We're going to have press release templates. So a whole bunch of other, basically we're putting together a toolkit for partners to use and generate outreach for that particular week. So stay tuned for that. And I mentioned the webinars. We have monthly webinars. They're really fantastic. They've been, it's just been fantastic to hear the resources that our partners are coming and bringing to the table. A couple months ago, we had Chris Evans from the University of Illinois talk about his research that showed exactly how boot brush stations really do keep out invasive species. They grew out from the soil that people kicked off their boots. They grew out what was in there, and lo and behold, just under 50% of what grew out was either invasive or exotic. So it's just evidence, very strong evidence that, what we're doing by getting these tools out there at the critical junctions, at these trailheads and boat landings and things, is exactly what we need to be doing. So in order for us to be successful, in order for us to really prevent the spread of invasive species through all recreational pathways, we really need you. We really need every one of you to join as a partner, start using the same brand, some of our outreach tools, whatever is easy for you to plug and play wherever you work. We really need you to help us get this message out. If you go to our website, this is the page, the join page, and you can see there are 3 tiers of types of partners, from individual to partner organization and contributing organization. You all are probably going to be in the partner organization category, and here I'm showing the table of benefits that we offer for the different levels of partnership. So you can take your time and kind of see what's going to be most useful for you. We really provide very generous resources. If you think about it, there's been, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of research and development that have gone into this campaign, and we're providing the turnkey outreach materials to you at a very low cost. And so these annual partner levels will provide on a regular basis for you continually new materials, tools, the webinar access. And I forgot to mention, at our annual conference, we will always have a dedicated PlayCleanGo summit where we bring partners together. And this year, actually, we're doing a poster session where we're inviting the PlayCleanGo partners to send us, we have a sort of a template of a poster format, and we will put together the poster for you where you can show us what you're doing. And it'll just be a nice way for everybody to share how you are doing outreach and awareness. So a lot of other things. Access to graphic services is something we provide. We have graphic designer staff who can help you customize materials. What else? Like I said, those pre-printed materials, at the higher levels, you get more of a discount for purchasing those, and recognition in our newsletter and our website. So lots of good stuff. So here's our call to action. We hope you will join us. We hope you will help us stop the spread of invasive species through recreation, help us get this brand at your local trailheads, boat landings, campgrounds, etc., and help us show the behavior that we want all recreationists to do. And together we will leverage and amplify the tremendous power of this campaign that has already spread literally like wildfire across North America. Here are some of our big contributors. We've had significant funding from USDA, APHIS, Forest Service, Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. As the founder of the campaign put in an incredible amount of time and resources into the campaign. They are still a major partner. And then here are some of our significant partners down below. Here's our contact information. I encourage you to reach out to myself or Hannah. Let us know how we can help you get engaged as partners. And I believe that is it. So thank you so much for having me, and I'll take some questions if there's time.
Great, thank you so much. That was incredibly informative and really helpful to better understand how to be a part of the campaign. We do have some time for questions. So if you have a question, just remember that your mic should be muted. So unmute yourself, and we will give just a moment. I'll give you a minute to unmute if you have a question.
Hi all, this is Hannah Bowers, the Communications and Program Manager for PlayCleanGo and CISMA. I just wanted to add to Bill's presentation. We also have just started a blog post, so you may have missed Chris Evans' webinar a couple of months ago talking about the effectiveness of boot brush stations. However, he's going to have a blog post that comes out in May, so you can stay tuned for that. I also welcome anyone that is a partner or even have interest in writing blog posts about what you are doing in Florida, to please contact us. We love to have that outreach of how people in different areas are stopping the spread of invasive species. So Bill gave y'all our email addresses, which they're very simple: Hannah@playcleango.org, Bill@playcleango.org. So feel free to reach out to us at any time.
Excellent. Thanks, Anna.
So much. Any other questions? And I take no questions to mean that it was so thorough and that we really understood all the content. I think what I will do, and for the CISMA leads on the line, I think I will kind of summarize this, and I will reach out to everybody to talk about how this can help maybe just guide a cohesive strategy for partnering with PlayCleanGo. I would be really interested if, you know, as individual CISMAs may want to join as a partner, of course we want to know, and then maybe we can help facilitate that process. So I'll reach out to this with an email just to kind of summarize and see what the next steps would be for us, what we want to do. But I think definitely something we want to explore more and get more involved with. Thank you, Val and Hannah, so much for joining us today. I know I learned a lot, and I think everyone on the call did as well.
Great, thanks.
So thank you. So with that, I just have a few announcements. Let's see if I can, there we go. So I did want to share, this went out to the CISMA leads this week, as well as our FISP partners. And we also shared this on FISP Facebook and Instagram page. Just some results from our National Invasive Species Awareness Week campaign, our first annual statewide weed wrangle. I'm declaring officially that it was successful. We had over 250 volunteers working on over 38 acres, removing 29 invasive plant species, totaling in an estimated 211 bags, 6 full dump trucks, and 825 pounds of plant material. And there was actually a good bit more than that, the way the data was reported to me. So there were some additional trees and stems, quite a bit actually, that were pulled that aren't represented in that number. So we made an impact with that event. We educated about 300 people through workshops and other training. And then we definitely saw some engagement through social media during that week. So thank you to everybody who helped out with that, who hosted a reed wrangle, who, worked with us on that. I will be reaching out to CISMA leads and FISP partners pretty soon, not in the next couple months. We want to start planning next year. So getting a little earlier start now that we are established with the weed wrangle, now that we kind of have connected with the Garden Clubs of America, we're set up to really just bigger and better next year. And the one thing I just wanted to note as well for the CISMAs, because we are a weed wrangle partner, we've signed the agreement to use the branding of that effort. Throughout, you can host a weed wrangle any time of the year. It doesn't have to be. So we're going to continue. FISP is going to continue to host the annual event during NESA. But anytime throughout the year, if you're doing especially volunteer weed pulls where you're engaging the public, it may not be so may not make as much sense for your partner work days, but you can certainly still do it. But if you can utilize that weed wrangle branding and that weed wrangle language, we kind of want to help make this a identifiable event throughout the state. And I have a folder I can share with you that has like example posters and the logos that you might need and things like that. So feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have questions about the weed wrangle effort. But again, throughout the year, as you're doing these volunteer events, you're welcome to use, and we encourage you to use the weed wrangle branding and wording. I just wanted to highlight we've got a lot going on, a lot of cool events coming up. So this just takes us through May. A few of these things are not things necessarily that we're hosting, like I've listed. Not IPSI has a webinar tomorrow. Actually, that's going to be, I believe, Dr. Farrell out of University of Florida with the drivers of the long-term dynamic impacts of plant invasions. Also, on April 30th, the American Bird Conservancy is hosting a webinar about their Cats Indoors program. So really focusing on one of our toughest invasive species issues that we have to tackle, which is feral and domestic cats. So they're going to talk about pet cats. So those are two things that we're not necessarily hosting, but they're on our calendar because I wanted to make sure our partners were aware of them. And then lots of great CISMA stuff coming up. Treasure Coast has a few work days. You can see that all here. And just a reminder, everything that's listed here, the full event details for all of this is on our calendar, on our website. So you can go to this link featured here, or if you just go to our homepage and click on the news tab, it'll take you to our event calendar as well. Okay, our next couple of calls, we're going to get some updates on some of our pest species. So in May, we're going to hear from SWC, get an update on what's going on with tigers in the state. And then in June, we're going to get an update on lionfish work in the state. So those will be two great calls, good opportunities to get updated on those critical issues. All right, and then we're wrapping up a little early, which I don't think anyone ever minds. Just a reminder, we have these calls on the fourth Wednesday of every month at 1:30. We never go over an hour. And recordings of past calls are always available. Usually takes about a week to go up. This will be up sometime next week at our website again as well, and directly if you go to CISMA calls. Please follow us on Facebook at floridainvasives.org and Instagram at protect_Florida, and you know, continue to share content and let us know if we have content that we can share. So with that, again, as I said, I will follow up with the CISMA leads on kind of summarize today's information and talk about how we as a state and then as CISMA can build a partnership with this really cool national, international PlayCleanGo campaign. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So thanks again to our speakers, and I look forward to talking to everybody again next month. Have a great afternoon.